Talent Cup has been a whirlwind of drama and battles, and last time out was absolutely no different in Motegi, Japan. The two title rivals, Ryota Ogiwara and Seiryu Ikegami, went head-to-head again, and despite Ikegami's best effort, it wasn't enough to overthrow Ogiwara, who set a new record in the class for 8 straight wins. It went down to the last lap and all the way to a run down to the finishing line. But Ikegami was outfoxed again. He'll be looking to try and set the record straight, this time against his chief title rival, who indeed has a match point here in Mandalika, Indonesia, for the penultimate round of the 2025 season. Sprint Saturday is almost over here in Indonesia. We're on the tropical island of Lombok and we're at the very, very southern tip of it, looking out over the Indian Ocean. And there's plenty of waves out there, and riding the crest of a wave, it is indeed Ryota Ogiwara, who, although he can take the title this weekend, will have to wait until tomorrow morning to do so, depending on what happens in this one. You're in the company of Kiko, Giles and Elliot York, as always. We're going to be bringing you the action and hopefully a little bit of entertainment along the way here from the Pertamina Mandalika Circuit in Indonesia. El, last time out, another double for Ryota Ogiwara. It was his 4th of the season, was his 8th win in a row. He has a commanding 40-point lead. If he wins today and tomorrow, he's the champion, regardless of what happens to Seiryu Ikegami.
He certainly is, yes. Another perfect weekend last weekend on home turf for Ogiwara, who continues on his way, as Kiko rightly mentioned, a new record in the class. Records getting broken pretty much every year, it feels like, with the talent coming through this Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup programme is absolutely fantastic. They've, of course, got Zen Matani, their latest debutant in Moto3 this weekend, which is great to see. And I've got a feeling we're going to see Ogiwara, Ikegami and a few other of these riders in Moto3 in the not too distant future. But here and now, it's all about the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup title. And it does look like, if things continue to go their way, it will be Ogiwara's camp who are celebrating potentially, not tomorrow, but potentially in the Malaysia as well, but could happen tomorrow as well. 100 points left on offer after Indonesia, of course. 25 plus 25 equals 50, and if Ogiwara is 50 points or more ahead after tomorrow morning's race, then he will head to Malaysia as the champion. Excited for this one, Kiko. Qualifying was tight, and we have a different pole sitter than we've had in the last few rounds.
We do indeed. A first career pole for Haruki Matsuyama, who has been on the podium, of course. If you think back to Podium, it's his 3rd front row of 2025, but this time he gets a clear vista down towards turn 1.
Yeah, debut pole, 3rd front row of 2025 for Matsuyama. He had a disappointing weekend over in Japan, double DNF on home turf, so to come back, make amends and stick it on pole position is a good response to the disappointment to last time out.
Seiryu Ikegami has had a front row in every single round in 2025. He was on the podium here in 2024 as well as P4. He can't have that at all throughout this weekend. He's got to get those first wins under his belt this season.
Yeah, simply has. He's not finished outside the top 2, in fact, in qualifying all season long, and as we know, he's finished 2nd in every race. Finishing 2nd today, if he beats Ryota Ogiwara, it will be a good result, but if he finishes 2nd behind Ogiwara again, that is not a place Ikegami wants to be. Won every race so far in 2025, and his first win came at Mandalika last year. Ryota Ogiwara knows how to get it working round here, but this, even though he's 3rd on the grid, it is his worst qualifying of the year. There's a reason why he is your out-and-out championship leader and favourite. Yeah, I noted that down as well. Worst qualifying of the season, but you're still on the front row in 3rd place. Just absolutely outstanding season from the number 16, 10 times winner in the class. Well, that'll be 11 in a few minutes' time. In every race he's finished, Alphonse Dakigan has had a top 7, but he also has a double long lap penalty for irresponsible riding, does the number 22. Here last year, 9th and a DNF, but the DNF was from P2. Certainly was. Equal best qualifying of 2025 for Alphonse Dakan, but life in this race has become pretty difficult. Double long lap penalty, that's around about 6 seconds-ish, more or less, if you nail the 2 long laps. If you don't nail them and you get it wrong, then you've got to take a third or potentially even a fourth as well.
Yes, indeed. His other best of fourth came at Podium at the start of the year, so he's bookending this one out very, very well indeed. We should have had Badli Ayatollah up there in 5th place on the grid. He will not be taking part due to injury, so that promotes Shingo Idaka up to the middle of that second row. Qualified on front 2 rows of the grid for the last 4 rounds. He's in good form over 1 lap. He's also been on the podium lately.
Yeah, the only qualifying Idaka has had off the top 2 rows was back in round 1. So he's had a good showing in qualifying in the last few rounds. Starts from the middle of the second row in P5.
Double P5 from LaSalle. 5 top 10s in 2025, including a 9th and 6th last time out for Tieran Fleming. But this is an all-new track for him. Never been to Mandalika.
Yeah, certainly is, and he did those results last time out from 7th on the grids. He qualified 7th, pushed up now to the outside of the second row in 6th place. So can Fleming challenge for a podium? He's got a good chance from there. Yeah, he's one of the big beneficiaries of Ayatollah's absence. He moves up from that 7th place, as you say, up into P6 on the starting grid, and he'll keep that place tomorrow unless there's any misdemeanors out there today. At the head of that 3rd row now, we're going to have Tanachat's Pratum Tong, the number 5. He's looking to try and get back in the top, towards the top 8, top 9. He was 13th and 10th last year at Mandalika, and also last time out at Motegi, but looking a bit better after qualifying. Yeah, he's level on points in the championship with his fellow Thai rider Chip Wirral chaps, 37 points apiece. That is equalled his 2024 points tally, so improving on 2024 in 2025 is Pratum Tong, which is good, but he'll want to finish at least inside that top 10. 10 points splitting them to Archie Schmidt in P9 as things stand. And you mentioned a tie in the championship as well. There's a tie on the 3rd row of the grid, the 2nd spot of that. No bumper away. Worst weekend of the season last time out with a DNF and P9, and like Tieran Fleming, this is his first time here on Lombok Island. Yeah, he was very consistent up until the Japanese Grand Prix, unfortunately, bumper away. No podium since that opening race in Thailand, so he'll be desperate starting from P8 to get a good start and be in that podium fight from the off and return to podium ways for the first time since the opening race of the season. We are taking a look all the way through the grid as we are getting to about 2 minutes until lights out here for the Asia Talent Cup Race 1. It obviously kicks off at 4:10 local time. We will be back tomorrow at around 9:45 for Race 2. So tune in, because it could well be a title decider. We have a few wild cards as well, looking out towards number 30 at the head of the 4th row of the grid in 10th place. Bintang Pranata, keep an eye on him. Tell you what, in this part of the world, Bintang is certainly a favourite of the commentary up here. And further back, we have Raka Bima. He is the penultimate rider on the grid, but he's in good company. He's got Shen Shiyu in 21st place and Chit Wirral Chat in 19th place. So Bima is right in the middle of it as we gather our thoughts ahead of what is going to be lights out here. It is not a match point in this race for Ryota Ogiwara. He's won 8 on the bounce. He's looking to make it 9 on the spin and maybe a perfect 10 tomorrow, and if he does, he has got the 2025 Asia Talent Cup wrapped up with a round to spare. But Haruki Matsuyama it is who'll be looking to go from pole and try and convert it to add his name to the winners list of 2025. There's only been 1 winner so far. Can we have a second? Coming up, race 1. Don't go anywhere. You join myself, Kiko Giles and Elliot York up here in commentary for what is the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cups Race 1 here at the Pertamina Grand Prix of Indonesia at the Pertamina Mandalika Circuit. We are in our penultimate round, our penultimate venue for 2025. Really, actually our last venue, because we've already been to Sepang in support of the Malaysian Superbikes, but of course the world stage goes there at the end of October. We've gone through all of the grid up until Bintang Pranata there in 10th place. We've got Daniel there in 11th, Nelson Kairoli up there in 12th place. Bit of a disappointing qualifying for Archie Schmidt to find himself down there in 14th place, and also
further down. Alvaro Mahendra will be looking to try and make that work for him off the middle of that 6th row. And as I said, Shen Shiyu looking to try and get more points in what has been a resplendent 2025 campaign thus far. She completes the order and will be looking to try and recover from what was an unfortunate mistake where she doubled DNF. But bouncing back in style, she'll be looking to try and make hay whilst the sun sets here on Lombok Island. It is a rather resplendent afternoon up here as well. I've got to say, in terms of weather, we had a few dark clouds earlier, but it is full sunshine now. The shadows go long and the sun is setting on what is an amazing 2025 Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup. And as they go out on their warm-up lap, we've already had the MotoGP TISO sprint. We had an absolute corker of a last lap. Asia Talent Cup is what they do full-time.
It certainly is. Turn 10 was where the sprint was won. Won't tell you who if you've not tuned in, but this is where the race was won and lost. Is it going to all come down to this part of the circuit in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup? It will certainly be a hot spot for overtaking. After you flick it through turn 9, you can get a bit of slipstream through there and get a good run into the hard braking zone of 10. Then it comes into turns 11, 12 and 13. Sort of line astern through there. Is it ever line astern in the Asia Talent Cup? Not really, but traditionally that is the line through there, and then it all leads down to 14, 15 and 16, the tight hairpin that is the penultimate corner on this circuit. The last real overtaking opportunity, but you can chuck it up the inside if you get a good run out of there into turn 17, but we're going to see plenty of action just there. Turn 16, a very difficult corner to get right, but you can take plenty of different lines through there, which provides great overtaking opportunities, especially of course in the latter stages of the race.
Let's talk about predictions. We've got Haruki Matsuyama on pole position, Seiyuu Ikegami again on the front row, and Ryota Ogiwara, who has a commanding lead in the championship. It looks like it's going to be one of those three in race one. Choose one.
I'm going to go for Ikegami to finally get that victory. He deserves one, doesn't he? He was so close over in Japan. Surely it's going to come before the end of the season. 4 races left, and it'd be nice, apologies to number 16 of Ogiwara, to just have the championship close from a neutral perspective. What about you? I'm
going to go Ogiwara just because he's in fine form. It's been 8 on the bounce. He's looking to make it cloud 9 here. Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup race 1 here. Mandalika, what have you got for us? We go green. Matsuyama from pole position gets a decent start, but not as decent as Ikegami, who's got that number 14 rolling all the way down to turn 1 now. Turn 1, 2, 3 and 4 are all very, very tricky. Ikegami grabs the whole shot. It's second for Matsuyama. Ogiwara, your championship leader, has slogged into 3rd place ahead of Hidaka, and then it's Dakigan who is in 5th place. But remember, he has a double long lap through turns 2, 3 and 4. This is where it's been so tight in years gone by across all motorcycle racing classes here, but I think they're all safely through, and it is as they come through the fast stuff and out towards the countryside and down towards 7, 8, 9 and 10. It is as quick as that, and it is flat out on these machines. It is Ikegami who is leading the charge as they flick it right through turn 9, and then the braking zone of turn 10 they fan out about 6 abreast. Oh, that was tight, and it's Dakigan who has come all the way through from 5th place to lead it, but I remind you he has a double long lap penalty.
Oh, that was really close on the exit of turn 9 into turn 10. Ikegami was leading the race, but now he's down to P4. Tell you what, Ogiwara was great on the brakes into turn 1. Got a decent launch, but lost out, was dropped back to 4th place, but was late on the brakes and made it up to P3. But this is brilliant for Dakigan, who remember has a double long lap penalty, so this is the perfect start for the 22.
And I tell you what, look who's in 2nd place. Bumper away. That was from the 3rd row of the grid somewhere. So nothing from
P8,
bumper away has come from the middle of the 3rd row all the way up. Hidaka's right there. So we've got a Filipino leading a Thai, leading a Japanese. It is all an international flair here in the Asia Talent Cup. It's through on the inside. That was the 14 of Ikegami. I tell you what, I think we're in for a classic here today.
Yeah, and seeing what the tactic is for the number 22, then Dakigan crosses the line, a good half a second clear of the rest of the field. Does he continue on his way for another couple of laps to try and build that advantage to the group, or does he get the long laps out the way and done with? He's not had it come up on his grid, on his dashboard yet, so I don't think he'll take it on this lap. but that is the perfect start as Ikegami makes a move at the inside of Bumper into turn 2. A good one out of turn 1. The 14 back up in second after losing out on the opening lap towards turn 10.
Very good stuff indeed from Ikegami, but that turn 10, it's going to shuffle around right the way through this race, because all of this, it's just building and building and building right the way through. All of these fast corners, all the way through these fast rights, and it's over the top of a small hill. You flick it left, right here. Oh, head shaker for Ikegami. That's going to push him offline, and that is going to give everybody a chance to come on by. You see what I'm saying? 4 abreast down in towards turn 10. Oh, Idaka taking all the braking space of Bumper away. That's all very tight down at turn 10.
Yeah, Daka taking no prisoners down there at turn 10, was he? Cut right across the line, but it was a move that worked out for the Japanese rider on the number 21. Just looking for Ogiwara. Did he lose out? Well, he's just losing out there to Ikegami. He's just behind Brumpoe now. He's the championship leader. Ikegami got a real head shake, didn't he? Coming through turn 8. That's not where you want to be getting out of shape, and that cost him on the run to turn 10.
Alphonse Dakigan is making a break for this. He's got a 7/10 of a second lead over Shingo Idaka at the moment. They are spreading out just a little bit. Ikegami still battling away with Bumproe. That is over 3rd place. 2nd place at the moment is Idaka. Ogiwara, your championship leader by 40 points, is there in 5th place at the moment. He would be exceeding 5 overall, but out front, Alphonse Dakigan is getting his head down and trying to go for this victory. He's got the double long lap to do, but I'll tell you what, his pace ain't bad. Down in 10th place is Bodie Page with the fast lap of the race so far, so it's a proper old school Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup showdown where we have got a proper bit of unpredictability and a real wide-ranging set of riders who could take victory in this. Dakigan bails out. This is the long lap. It's one of the easier ones on this calendar, and he does that very neatly indeed. Keeps it within the white lines. That'll slot him right at the back of this group. He's got another one to do. That puts him down to 10th place, I reckon.
Yeah,
11th.
Couldn't have done that any better really on the 22, but look how much time it's cost him. Look how much places it's cost him, unfortunately, for Dakigan. He's got another one to do. I assume he'll do that on the next lap, and then he's just got to simply get his head down. But if he can latch onto the back of this group, gain some slipstream, you can see how tight the top sort of 10 are. Bodie Page incidentally crossed the line in P10 on the number 26 and set a 43.2, the fastest lap of the race. So you can see from your pictures, this is tight as you like. So the 22 just in the middle of it there. If he can nail the second long penalty, he's potentially not out of podium contention yet.
Ogiwara was elbowing his way into P2 there. That was a brave old move. You don't need to be doing it. And coming back, not this time, Ikegami. I was going to say that's going to that's going to go properly wrong, I've got to say. So let's take stock. 21 Idaka leads this ahead of Ogiwara. Then it's Ikegami. Bumproe is having a look at the number 14. Can't quite get it done this time around. 5th place is the number 5 of Pratham. No, it isn't. Yes, it is Pratham Tong. Sorry, I thought I was seeing Pranata up there at the start there, not that time around. He's down in... Pranata is in 13th place, our local wildcard, Bintang Pranata. Davina Brittani, fastest lap of the race, a lap ago, and he is up there in P8 as it stands, but it's Idaka, Ogiwara, Ikegami, Bumproe, and then it is Matsuyama who has now come through for 5th place. He's just ahead of Fleming, who's now 6th, and Pratham Tong, who's down to 7th.
Yeah, so your lead Indonesian rider for the Indonesian fans out there watching, of course, on around and track as well, is Brittani. Crossed the line in 8th place, set his personal best lap time. Plenty of the riders did in that lead group and further down the field as well. Just seeing if Dakigan has taken his second long lap penalty, just dropped down the order. So I think he has, and you can see on the left-hand timing tower there, the 22 in P14. Now it's all about getting your head down with 11.5 laps remaining and trying to bridge the gap up to the leaders. But you can see Brittani on the 7 there. There's a gap now behind to, well, it was Dakigan, and now I think it's Bodie Page.
It is indeed. As we see at the front, Ogiwara has taken over, coming through down in towards turn 10. He got that job done on Idaka, and now it is Ikegami who will be next up to try and make a lunge if he can. But we've had a very, very different opening couple of laps here in the Asia Talent Cup. But slowly but surely, Ogiwara and Ikegami have worked their way back towards the front. That's Matsuyama trying to come back to him. Bumproe, see a pole sitter now back into P4, makes a place. Good old move that from Ogiwara, and Ikegami follows suit at turn 16. The 3 Japanese are all side by side. Idaka might have the inside for turn 17, thinks better of it. So your top 2 in a title race, and then your top 2 on track and in that order. Ogiwara leads Ikegami, then it's Hidaka, then it's Matsuyama. It's a Japanese 1, 2, 3 and 4. Tyrrell Fleming, fastest lap of the race, leads a pack of Thai riders. Fleming, Bumperway and Pratamtong as back through comes Ikegami. That's exactly what he needs to do. He needs to slow this one down as well to see if anyone can get in the way between him and Ogiwara and pack out some places.
Exactly, simply needs to beat Ogiwara today and tomorrow, doesn't he? As we get confirmation of Fleming, fastest lap of the race of 43.207. That was around about 3/10 quicker than your leaders.
The Bodie Page in the background, he had both of his feet off the foot pegs there. Lucky to stay on the Australian. He's still right in this.
Certainly is. I didn't quite catch that. It's a good spot from Kiko there, but it's Ikegami still leading, but he's made a couple of mistakes through this fast sweeping section of 8 and 9, and this is all leading down to turn 10. You can see there, slipstream coming into effect. It's Fleming on the number 10, and the 21 of Hidaka going up the inside as well. So Ikegami has gone from P1 to P3 into turn 10. That is where it's going to change lap by lap here in Mandalika.
And Ogiwara's back to P6, and really that is not ideal. I think he's just coming through on Bumperway actually, so he might have recovered to P5. That's Page out wide again. He is in 9th place at the moment. They come through. Whoa, Tyrrell Fleming is absolutely riding that curve, really close to the green. The race directors will be watching on for that. You don't want to be going out onto the green too much. This is down towards 16. That's Hidaka coming through on Tyrrell Fleming. I think Fleming let him have that one a little bit too easily, perhaps, but safe and sound through 16. This is up towards 17, the final corner. All about corner speed on exits and then drive into the line. Hidaka leads Fleming, 14 of Ikegami, Matsuyama, then Ogiwara, and then it is Pratamtong, Bumperway, and in 8th place Brittany. Let's see if we get a change over in P2. We do not. It is still P3 for Ikegami that time around.
Hard work done then for Dakigan. He's latched himself back onto the back of the group. You just saw there on the left-hand side a 43.075, fastest lap of the race. The only rider in the 143s, and he was only just in the 43 as well. Everyone else lapping the 44s or the 45s in this league group. We're going to pick him up here on the 22. There he is. So he's done the hard work to bridge the gap. Now he's just got to pick his way through the field. Also hard work, but he's now with them and in the slipstream. Yeah,
he just needs to keep it clean and all tidy, really. He doesn't want to be doing anything too rash. He just needs to keep his head down, and he will slowly but surely work his way up to the front of this group. Oh, that's kiting so tight. I tell you what, the 21 of Hidaka won't be too happy about Tyrrell Fleming there, because they're coming across and taking the braking space of another rider. Is slightly frowned upon, but it is Asia Talent Cup after all. This is one of the best races of the year, and this is fantastic stuff from Tyrrell Fleming, I've got to say, who is looking very, very strong out front, looks comfortable out front. But we have got about, where are we getting to here? Down to Shaft Maurice down in 12th place. No, it's Nelson Cairoli in 13th. The 26-wheeler as a lead group in the Asia Talent Cup. It's definitely going out with a bang in 2025, and we've still got 3 more races to come after this one. Line astern all the way through the penultimate corner, and then it is that short shoot towards turn 17, but still Tyrrell Fleming leading well.
Certainly is. It's going to be difficult for anyone, I think, to break away in this group unless some mistakes are made from behind, as Fleming and Hidaka cross the line pretty much level pegging. Once again, Alfonsi Dakigan, you can just see there into the 142s. The lead group, for most part, were in the 143s, but Dakigan has dropped his pace again of 42.917. The only thing to watch out for towards the end of the race is, of course, tyre life. Dakigan, of course, taken plenty of life out of those tyres, but you can see here we're just picking him up on the exit of turn 4 now, before we start the long run down to turn 10. Slipstream coming into effect here. This is a main reason why no one can really break away as things stand, because you're just able to latch onto the rear wheel of the rider in front of you and let it bring you along in the group.
This is all building, isn't it, to something very, very interesting. Oh, look at that. The Asia Talent Cup race direction are not very happy with the excessive swerving from multiple riders. Now, I just wonder if there's a few little penalties being readied by race directions pencils up there in the office. So excessive swerving. So the Asia Talent Cup lads have been told a few times not to push the limits of race direction, and I think they may have just caught the likes of race direction on a bad day. Let's have a look if there's any excessive swerving. There is in the middle of the pack. Out front, not too much, I don't believe. Oh, the 21 of Idaka's surging through, and then, well, yeah, I suppose so. There is a little bit, but they're coming back on the racing line as well.
Yeah, doesn't look like too much wrong. It may be a little bit too much swerving there, but everyone fighting for track position going into turn one, but clearly race direction think there was a little bit too much. So who are we to argue? It was mainly in the middle of the pack, it looks like, but maybe a Dakar potentially on the 21 as well, coming across into the braking zone, into turn one. It is a Dakar leading from Fleming, but not for long. Fleming good on the brakes into turn one. A nice clean move there as we head into the final 8 laps of the race.
Up towards turn 2. This is a real pinch point. 2, 3 and 4. We've seen it so many times, and not just on the opening lap, but it's riders trying to push their way through and just get it all a bit wrong because it's so one line. That's why this track really comes alive in the second half of this track, because you've got all these fast right-handers, and it's up to the S's of 7, 8 and 9, and then it's all the way down into a massive braking zone. And on these little Age of Talent Cup machines, they really do lend themselves to fast direction changes, as we have seen so often. Down in towards the heavy braking area at turn 10. This is where they turn right. If they carry on, they're in the Indian Ocean, but everyone safely through this time around, and it is still tearing Fleming. I've got to say, I'm very, very impressed by the number 10 indeed. Is looking very, very comfortable out front. That's a big move incoming. Ogiwara trying to come through on Idaka, but he's not that quick enough at the apex, and Idaka just wipes his nose for him this time around. And I tell you what, Ogiwara, for being offline, gets punished by his main title rival Ikegami. He's side by side, gets third.
Yeah, it cost him, didn't it, that Ogiwara taking the inside sweeping line. I think the camera angle just causes us to view it a little differently than it actually is, a little bit closer than it actually is, but it cost Ogiwara, and Ikegami can take no second chances. He's got to pounce when the first chance comes along, and that's exactly what he did. Plenty of running left in this lap, race, 7 laps to go, and there you can see the unsafe change of direction, long lap penalties incoming.
For number 5, Pratamtong, Hotte, the Chip World Chat number 24, and Pranata are wild cards. So Bintang means star in the local language, not a star off the racing line, that is for sure. Unsafe change of direction, long lap penalty. So the long lap penalty lane getting rubbered in ahead of Grand Prix Sunday tomorrow. 7 laps to go, we're at half race distance, and at the moment it is very, very tight at the front. This is by far and away the most interesting Asian Talent Cup race we've had the pleasure of commentating and calling on so far this year. Idaka is the one who heads this massive pack through the fast stuff of sectors 1 and 2, and then up through the S's and down towards turn 10.
There's Dakagan then across the line in P6. Sorry, across the line in P7. He's made up for place already on this lap into P6, and he was again in the 43s. Now he's in the group. He's setting similar pace, of course. Difficult to get into your own rhythm, and that is the 22 getting it out of shape at turn 10. I think he was shoved a little bit offline, and if you go offline too much here, we know that it's quite dirty, and there's obviously not as much grip out there, but he's well within a shout now, not just a podium, but a victory as well.
Idaka it is, who is now been passed by Ikegami. Ikegami has hit the front. Ogiwara has moved through on this one. That's up to P3 ahead of Fleming. Bumper away is still right there for Thailand, and it's Australia's Bodhi Page who's got Haruki Matsuyama, a pole sitter for company. Then it's the Philippines in 8th place, Alfonso Dakigan, and what a comeback ride it has been, despite having that double long lap penalty to serve. A little bit of contact there behind, that was with Page and Bumperway, the 26 and the 20, just clattering into each other through turn 16. We come across the line, another lap done, and still none the wiser as to which way this one is going to go. Down towards turn 1, fanning out right the way through the group. Idaka on the brakes is going to try and come past Ogiwara, but he can't, and they all come through cleanly.
Now for the top 2 in the championship, once again hitting the front top 2 positions, and once they did, Ikegami especially leading the race for the latter half of that lap, a 43.3 for both of them. Their personal best laps of the race. No one else in that group, the lead group, were setting their personal best laps. So is this the time of the race with 6 laps to go? You can see a little bit of a gap forming behind them. Is this now the part of the race where Ikegami and Ogiwara just turn the screw slightly, and are we going to see who can go with them, and if they can stretch their lead and stretch their legs at the front? I'd be very surprised if Ikegami wants to here, because there's no need for him. We're having a look at this replay. I would have quite liked to have kept with the live action there, because I think we were on for an absolute riot down at turn 10 involving the lead in 3. But never mind, let's watch Ryota Ogiwara. We've not seen enough of him this year with his 8 wins of the season.
back in the action. This is coming through turns 11 and 12, and thankfully we didn't miss anything. Ikegami still ahead of Ogiwara, but it's Idaka in third place now, Fleming fourth, fifth place for Bodie Page, who is doing very, very well from the fifth row of the grid, the back of the fifth row of the grid. Grand stuff then from the 26th, and then it's Bumperaway who completes that top six. Dakigan has got in this lead group, but his progress has been slightly stymied. He's there in seventh and waiting to pick up any scraps, which there will be scraps if they carry on like that in the closing laps here of Asia Talent Cup Race 1. That was very, very close. I think Dakigan, in the end, despite having that opportunity, had to take avoiding action.
Yeah, I think he did. That is turn 16 coming into play. All sorts of different racing lines, everyone trying to be hard on the anchors, get it stopped while leaning on the angle as well. Difficult corner to get right, and when you're in a group battle like that, it's very easy to make contact with other riders. So across the line then, 43.2s for the top two. Idaka is going with them, a 42.3, sorry, 43s that is, not 42s, as we get a replay, yeah. Dakigan just having to sit up slightly. It cost him a little bit of time, not too much, but a place also. Just trying to take avoiding action, because if you go front wheel on rear wheel, it's normally rear wheel that comes out on top. Here you go then. This is now the top 2, 3/4 with Fleming on the number 10, going with the trio of Japanese riders at the front.
Best race we've seen of the season for Tyrone Fleming. He is right in contention here for a podium. They come down towards turn 10, and the number 10 is going to be latest on the brakes again, is he? Not this time. Looked like he was going to get third, and in the end it... Oh, dear me, it's all very tight. Idaka there sweeping across. That is for P3, but Ikegami versus Ogiwara. It's happening again. Ogiwara looks so quick through turn 11 and 12. He looks like he's got that thing changing direction very, very well indeed, but no one able at the moment to get ahead of Ikegami. Ikegami needs to slow this pace down if he is to get big points scored back between him and Ogiwara in the title race. We know they've been told to pick their pace up and not necessarily want the battle, but Ikegami is going to need the battle at this rate. He needs riders to get in between himself and Ogiwara the 16.
Cue the Jaws music. The number 22 of Dakigan is into the podium places behind the top two in the championship. We said he's done the hard work. He really has done it now. The 22 ahead of Idaku was fantastic into turn 10. That time around, a fastest lap of the race, a 42.787. That is a second and a little bit more quicker than your top two. Dakigan really is in the victory fight now after 2 long lap penalties. This is stunning stuff from the number 22.
And 142.787 is the reference of this race at the moment, and I've got to say that is pretty quick, because Ikegami was a 43.8 last time around, so 1.1 seconds quicker. There's plenty of life left in this race yet. Ikegami ahead of Ogiwara, and the number 22 of Alphonse Dakigan is climbing all over the two in front of him. He's going to have to ride through him in a minute. He might well do it here. Oh dear me, I thought it was going to be very brave indeed. Ikegami slightly offline that time and a bit wide. Here comes Dakigan. Dakigan's going to lead it surely. On the brakes down towards turn 10. Not this time, because Idaka is going to come through and ruin the party for Alphonse Dakigan, but it is Idaka who comes through. Ikegami is coming back at him. This is more like rugby as they come through turn 11. How close do you want it here? We're in the final 4 laps, not the last lap. It's absolutely hold your breath and just hope for the best at the moment. Idaka has worked his way back to the front, and Dakigan is in second place and within striking distance of leading race 1 here in Indonesia.
This is Dakigan's 21st start in the Asia Talent Cup. He's never had a podium, let alone a victory. This is absolutely fantastic, and is the highest placed rider in this 2025 championship to not have a podium yet. Still 3 laps to go. A lot can happen, of course, in 3 laps, but Dakigan really is potentially a favourite for this race as the top 2 in the championship continue to interchange positions. Ogiwara finishing ahead of Ikegami so far. That's where the 16 will want to be, not where the 14 wants to be, though.
3 laps to go as we cross the line again. Look at this, all the way down to 10th place to Vito Bertani. Here comes Dakigan, he's leading at turn 1. Alphonse Dakigan has got the job done, and I tell you what, that would have come as a bit of a surprise, I'm sure, from Idaka when he saw him exit stage right at the long lap penalty loop. So fantastic stuff from Alphonse Dakigan, who has put together a marvellous race. It makes you think what he could do without the double long laps, but there he is out front anyway, and he's looking like he's going to stretch him here. They may have been caught napping, you know, El. Look at that progression. 4th on the grid, down to 13. 13th on that 4 after his 2 long laps, leading with 3 to go.
Yeah, this is pretty special from the number 22, but now he's got to lead from the front and try and defend instead of attack. How much tyre life has he got in that rear tyre as the number 22? Idaka always strong into turn 10. Ogiwara up the inside of the 20 and the number 14. That is Bumperway and Ikegami, of course. So Ogiwara making moves. He's up into P3 and Ikegami is responding as well.
Yeah, Ikegami cannot afford to be losing places here. That is close. Bumperway swept back across, and at the front in P2, Ogiwara comes through on Idaka. He can see Dakigan escaping off into the sunset here. We are coming through turns 13 and 14, and this thing is going to really kick off in a minute. I'm fairly sure of that. Bumperway again trying to come through on that tight inside line. We've seen him take that quite a few times. Look around the outside, surely not. So, well, what do I know? Ikegami's come through up into P4, round the outside at turn 15 and 16. Have a day off.
Not a lot is the answer to that question, Kiko. Dakigan, though, is leading the way with 2 laps to go. And I tell you what, the others need to start boxing clever here. It was, to be fair, personal best race lap from Ogiwara just behind, but he was still slower than the race leader of Dakigan. He's got his head down here, the 22, and Ogiwara is making moves. This is the championship leader coming to the 4.
He needs to come to the 4, but then he's got Ikegami behind him. If these rolls do reverse, and Ikegami does do a little bit of damage to Ogiwara's title hopes at the moment. Look how much Ogiwara has just latched on to the back of the 22 of Alfonso Dakigan, who is looking to try and put the Philippines on top in the Asia Talent Cup. What a final 2 laps we've got here coming up. This was the move of Shingo Idaka moving through into P2, and that was Ogiwara taking it back in the braking zone. So Ogiwara perhaps sandbagging a little bit here. He's obviously got some performance left with the final 6 or so kilometres of this. Oh, and right on cue, we come back and we see Ogiwara, who has already moved his way back to the front. Bumperway is on the wrong way, and he's come back in the line, right in the way. Whoa, the number 20 out in the grass, out in the gravel, and he just about comes back and stays in contention, but he's going to have to dust his tyres off here. He doesn't want to be pushing too much. Ogiwara leads.
Yeah, that's cost all the group behind time. Fleming now leading the way in P5 in the second group, but the top 4 now have a decent margin in hand. It was 0.6 of a second more or less coming through the third split. We'll see what it is across the line when we start the last lap, but it could be one of these 4 who are going to win the race. That is super late on the race. Is that Ikegami? A little bit out of control, must be said. That's cost him time. Dakigan as well as cost time. He's now P4. Now it is a Japanese 1, 2, 3 heading on to the final lap.
I tell you what, you would be absolutely spitting feathers if you're Alfonso Dakigan here. He's going to come right back with a vengeance. We are on the last lap as we take a big deep breath. Here comes Ogiwara looking at the inside and through, and following him through is Ikegami. So the top 2 in the title are back in P1 and P2 in that order. Idaka is third, looking for a podium once again. He was leading across the line last time around. Then it's Alfonso Dakigan, who for me is the rider of the race despite his 2 long laps of misdemeanors elsewhere in this weekend. But this is all building.
Building to turn 10. This is Ikegami's got a good run through turn 5. This is 6. He's got to try and get in the slipstream, not cost him time. Important for Ikegami to get through turns 8 and 9. This is it. 8, flick it left. 9, flick it right, and then got to get a move done into turn 10. This is crucial for the championship.
It's all bunching up again. Here comes Dakigan looking to try and come through, but he can't get the move done. Ikegami is leading, but he's a little bit tight there. He was a bit wide, and he wipes the nose of his main title rival. I remind you, these 2 are going head-to-head for the title. Ogiwara has been quick through 11 and 12, but not quick enough to land a blow. It is going to come all the way down to turn 15, 16, 17, and maybe even the finish line here. Hold on to your hats, folks at home, because this is building and building, and here is coming Ogiwara, who's going to try and come through. Ikegami goes ultra defensive. We close our eyes up. Here it comes. Where's Idaka? He's there in third. Ogiwara wants to win it from the front and has parked down the inside, but makes a mistake. Where's he going to end up here? Ikegami is back in the front. Ogiwara! Oh, he's on the apex! And that was always going to happen. Ogiwara is skizzled Ikegami with a brainless move, and Alfonso Dakigan has come through to take victory. Despite his double long laps, he was down in 13th place at the lowest, but the Filipino rider has done the business, and he is a race winner. Alfonso Dakigan profits from a mess at the final corner, and I tell you what, if they were investigating for a swerving and excessive swerving, they are going to be looking at Ryota Ogiwara, because that is going to be a very, very big penalty coming the way of the 16. That was a total mess that was always going to happen. Unfortunately, you've got to make the move, but you've got to do it realistically, and that was never on. Second place, Pulsitsa Matsuyama. Shingo Hidaka takes third. Davino Britannia, career best fourth. Talk us through the final corners. I've got to stop for breath.
This was turn 16 then. Ogiwara late on the break, sat Ikegami up, made a little mistake on the entry as well, and then that was unfortunately just out of control. There's no two ways about it. Can't sugarcoat that, unfortunately, for Ogiwara. He's got to admit defeat there in terms of Ikegami and just defend his second place. I understand wanting to win the race from there, but he's knocking the rear end over the curb, and unfortunately for Ikegami, he was in the way, and yeah, unfortunately that is not good at all from the championship leader. He's had a perfect year so far, but that's a real big error, unfortunately, for the Japanese rider, but it's one that handed victory to start of the race, and especially now for the number 22 of Alphonse Dakigan. What a race, what a way to clinch your first victory, your first podium as well. Congratulations to the Philippines rider.
Unbelievable. A very, very fine ride, a classy ride from Alphonse Dakigan. The 2 long lap penalties couldn't stop him, but the move that Ogiwara made, I mean, what was he thinking? He's coming surging up the inside. He's got the rear brake going. You can see the rear tyre mark going across the curb. It was never on. I know you've got to try, and I'm never going to discourage someone going for it the last corner, but that was a bit of a joke, I've got to say. And I tell you what, Ryota Ogiwara, for that, under investigation. I think that is about as polite as you can put it. But because he skittled Seiryu Ikegami, I've got to say that has been coming in that final sector, and it has been coming a little bit this year. They've both really been at war, say, throughout 2025. Unfortunately, now for Ikegami, it's still match point Ogiwara tomorrow.
Certainly is. It was aggressive enough going into 16, but that's all fair enough. Late on the brakes into the penultimate corner, we said it before, it's all going to come down to turn 16. That's the real last overtaking opportunity on the circuit. Loads of different lines going in there, late on the brakes, just about got it hooked up, didn't quite get the move done. Saw Ikegami move back up on the inside when he just got it out of shape, trying to get on the gas out of turn 16. Unfortunately, just not a clever move in the slightest at the final corner, and it's cost them both in the race. Now, of course, in the championship, it ultimately helps Ogiwara, but for Ikegami, he has his first race win of the season in his hands after defending well on the final lap, and he's skittled out of contention. I think a big slap on the wrist is coming the way of Ogiwara for that one. Not going to speculate on what sort of penalty, but it's going to have to be a big one, I think. Yeah, a slap in the wrist with interest. If that is not, say, something more severe than a double long lap, I will be very, very surprised. I mean, the move was never on. No. And Ayrton Senna once said, if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver. The key word in all of that was that exists. Yeah. We're going to have another look at it here, are we? This is a race start. So this is the initial swerving job further back in the field. Now, some of these riders have already been penalised for this. Some of them did not comply, I can tell you correctly, with the long lap. So they must have exceeded the actual long lap lane itself, and therefore find themselves having to go again and doing it. So I'm not sure whether we are going to have further penalties. I can tell you Hote has got a 6-second penalty, insufficient time to complete a long lap penalty. We have got a long lap penalty shortcut, that's the first one. We're having a look at the long laps here, I believe, of Alphonse Dakigan. Yeah. You can just see Ogiwara's move there is fine. That was fine.
It's on the limit, but it's fine because it's not over the limit. But this one, and it looks awful from behind. He's on the curb.
You can see the black mark there, as we've pointed out as well already. The
rear brake. No wonder Seiryu Ikegami is saying use your head. I mean, that was just brainless.
Yeah.
It sounds harsh, but
no, well, it's not harsh, is it?
You've got to race with respect for your peers. It doesn't matter whether it's on the title and all of that. If it was the last lap and that move is on, fine, fair enough. But Ikegami's on the apex. He can't move from where he is there. It's just such a needless move as well. It doesn't have any bearing on the championship. if he gives 5 points off there to Ikegami, then he's still got match point tomorrow.
Yeah, just lacking a bit of thinking time there, unfortunately, for Ogiwara, as we get confirmation of the final results. Eventually, I think we will.
Yeah. Lacking a bit of brain power, I think, elsewhere as well.
We've got to replay the final corner that didn't look like ATC bikes.
No, not at all. There we go. That's not correct. That's not even an approximation of the result. Okay, I'll tell you what, we're gonna just run with this for a moment. We'll try again in a minute. I mean, if you throw enough at it, one of them will be right. Alphonse Dakigan is the race winner by 86 thousandths of a second. Haruki Matsuyama is there in second place. Shingo Hidaka on the podium in third place. Fourth for Divino Britannia, and the home crowd will love that. The Indonesian flying the flag, of course, for Badli Ayatullah, who should have been in this race, but unfortunately isn't. Tyrion Fleming, the top tie there in fifth, just ahead of Nobrabung Bunpway, Brody Page, Pratham Tong, Archie Schmidt and Alvaro Mahendra completing top 10. Points all the way down to our second wildcard, Raka Bhima, Bintang Pranata. Try again tomorrow, and don't be excessively swerving off the starting positions. Ryota Ogiwara leads this title race by 40 points. It is now officially a two-horse race. Alphonse Dakigan moving up into third place there overall with his first career victory. We are underway with the podium. I can tell you Hidaka and Matsuyama, your pole sitter, are already there. That's a career best for Haruki Matsuyama. Well, it's the season's best for Haruki Matsuyama. And then we are going to have a career best for Alphonse Dakigan. And I tell you what, we're going to have something new for us here. The Filipino national anthem. I'm quite excited for it.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. The Indonesian national anthem, I've got to say, is one of my favourites. We heard it twice in 2023 when Veda Pratama did the double here, of course, famously on his way to the title win. But always great to see different nationalities on the podium, and of course new ones as well, with a Philippines rider on the top step. How good is that to see? Kisses the cat, and so he should do as well, Alphonse Dakigan. We've seen the negative side of racing. Let's say the final corner, but let's focus on the positive. So now a fantastic race from this trio and deserving podiums to go with it.
Yes, and very fitting trophies as well. That is your third place for Hidaka. We're going to get the second place trophy handed out in just a moment to Haruki Matsuyama. Here it comes. Matsuyama very, very close to victory there, 86 thousandths of a second. As we wait for Alphonse Dakigan's P1 trophy. I'll tell you, if you're just wondering what exactly all the noise is, I think our circuit announcer is actually under us at the moment, the floor below. So you might be getting a little bit of feedback, the ambient, and then through our actual microphones. The Vice Minister of Tourism, Nilu Puspa, gives out the winner's trophy. And I'll tell you what, El, I'll get your thoughts in a moment about the Philippines national anthem. That's up next. I like it.
So do I. Solid 9 out of 10 from me.
We can have that again tomorrow if we don't mind, Alphonse. If you can just do that again, please. That would be very much appreciated, Al. There's only one talking point. We can talk about the title race and our two title favourites, our two title contenders, that has just spilled over in the biggest possible way.
It certainly has, yeah. Drama unfolding here on the final lap at the final corner between our top two in the championship. Intrigued to see what happens in the aftermath of that one. And it will be, of course, a talking point tomorrow as we go into match point Sunday, of course, for Ryota Ogiwara.
Well, we're going to take you through the highlights and we're going to leave you with the highlights. What a race that was. A big collision on the final corner, and that is a big talking point in the title race of 2025. We'll be back tomorrow at 9:45 local time. It is a very early get-up, I know, but we'll be bringing you the action. But for myself, Kiko Giles, Elliot York alongside me, and the circuit announcer below us, goodbye and see you tomorrow on Grand Prix Sunday.